Camera's on. Good. I look tired, but that's okay because I am. So we're gonna get into right away with this young Bob speaker's corner drama that's going on. I guess he got pulled out of the park today for no reason, trying to talk to Muslims and counter them. So we'll give this video a watch from Revelation 22:13, who was following Mr. Young Bob around. Yeah, you can watch something on my phone.
Mommy phone is been died.
It died. She's talking on the phone. It's not dead.
It's that I know. That you was not.
There you go.
I tell.
God bless you.
I tell.
Oh, Hashem, this guy, he's running. He won't talk to young Bob. So. Oh, a lot of pushing, a lot of elbows, a lot of people dealing aggressively with young Bob.
I'm hungry.
You want some graham crackers?
Them numb.
Yeah, I know they're yummy.
I just want to be up here.
Put them over here. Put this stuff back. There you go.
Yeah.
Big crowd around him. Who's this guy?
That people. That Dino. Without.
There's a police lady right there. Look at this Muslim right there, and this guy right there. They're all pushing him, and then they come crying to the police.
Like always, because he cannot deal with the fact that he's a terrorist, he has to defer to violence or his other jihadi dogs. Notice, ladies and gentlemen, that Christians aren't involved in the same caliber of scandals, and they don't defer to the radical extremists of their pack. Speaker's Corner is a sample size of why integration doesn't work.
That's why you're in the prevent
never work
program.
with Islam.
That's why you're in the prevent program.
Religion of peace. This is the religion of peace.
Religion of peace, oh yeah. Pretty peaceful.
He's asking him questions, bro. He's asking him questions.
You know what's wrong with telling the truth, little man? What's wrong with telling the truth?
We got people protecting races, and we can't ask questions. We can't ask questions. So, I want to make this very clear. So, the individual in question, he's advertised himself. Okay. Bro, you need to get lost, bro. You need to get lost. That's fine. So, you notice how I allowed you to make your report to the police, but when I respond, you interrupt me. It demonstrates a lack of manners. Yeah, absolutely. It's embarrassing. So it's embarrassing. Like I said, I allowed them to move along, religion of peace, move along. They won't do the same thing. So what happened was, Hashim, who advertised, who advertises himself as a speaker who will speak to anyone, after he concluded his discussion with another Christian individual, I offered to continue speaking on the same subject matter and in fact bring up a public accusation that was levied by another Muslim in that he was complicit in a chat group and trying to lie about an abused victim of one of the other Muslim speakers. So I'm within my rights to firstly take up on the offer that he's a public speaker at an area which is a bastion of freedom of speech. He's lying. And secondly, I think as a public speaker, you should be able to resolve a public... Shut up, you drug addict! Shut up! Silence!
Somebody said, "Shut up, you drug addict."
Thank you very much.
Oh, another point of view.
I don't know because I'm not bold. Like easy. So Hashim, like always, because he cannot deal with the fact that he's a misogynist, he has to defer to violence with his other jihadi dogs. Notice, ladies and gentlemen, that Christians aren't involved in the same caliber of scandals, and they don't defer to the radical extremists of their pact. Speaker's Corner is a small size of why integration doesn't work.
That's why you're in the
Integration
prevent
will never work
program.
with Islam.
That's why you're in the prevent program.
I'm not. I got deferred. This is the religion of peace.
You don't want that sort of shit.
No, I was section 28 on protest. That's not the one.
Alrighty.
Pushing the kid around.
Yep. Hi. Yeah. Do I know you, sorry, or
People call me AB.
AB, how you doing? If you want to find out, scan me.
We can't ask questions.
No.
So, I want to make this very clear. So, the individual in question, he's advertised himself. Okay.
Oh, I didn't realize.
You need to not interrupt.
It's quite, that's fine.
So, I allowed you to make
No,
your police, but when I respond, you interrupt me. It demonstrates a lack of manners. Yeah, absolutely.
What are you falling over now, kid? You okay?
Whose are these?
Can you pick my bag? Eli, can you pick my bag up, my medicine bag?
Why?
Can you hand it to me so I can take my medicine? Thank you, buddy. No, this is just another point of view of the conversation. For the Muslims. Where's the peace-loving people? That's a joke. They're not peace-loving people. Some are. But there's a large multitude that are not.
So that I did because you
Thank you very much. So, I'll repeat this again. Speakers
Sorry,
can
I
passion and freedom of speech. Because we have this, we've been able to clearly identify that Islam will never socially integrate into a country that promotes critical speaking.
don't ask someone. I'm asking you now. You
Whenever you
now you're
Nope, it doesn't. And it breaks down every time it's critiqued.
yeah, of course. So, you know Allah says that for a man that dresses like a woman, you are under the curse of Allah. Yeah. So you have the social rejects of Islam that because they cannot socially integrate and critically think about their religion, they have to defer like violent thugs to violence.
You're a convicted drug addict. Shut up.
You're a transgendered individual. You dress up, you call yourself Georgina. You're a curse under Allah. So, for my Islamic thuggery friends who contradict their own religion, whilst also trying to protect a scandalous individual who abuses women, please go away. The UK doesn't want you. The reason why there's a sudden urge of people calling for remigration is because people that call for these ideas shouldn't be in the West, because they are thugs. They call for the radicalization of individuals at the park. They don't critically think. They try to groom people into religion that would never hold water, that comes from an individual in the 7th century, and ultimately you will always fail in the West.
Yeah, because we don't even know Muhammad's real. Was real. You only have the Quran. You don't have any other documents. Speaking of this Muhammad character. And then you have their hadiths, which are like hundreds of years apart from each other.
We don't want your hair anymore. We don't want cousin marriage. We don't want child marriage. We don't want Mohammedans. You're going. We don't want your hair. Religion of peace. Religion of peace. We don't want you here. We don't want any of you here. We don't want cousin marriage here. We don't want child marriage here. We don't want Sharia law. We don't want slavery. We don't want blasphemy law. We don't want. We don't want Muhammad hijab. We don't want Ali Dawah. We don't like Hamza's stem. We don't want Smile to Jannah. We don't want any of them here. You're all Don't ever return. You are intellectually dishonest. You're cowards for the sake of Allah. Muhammad's a fraud. Muhammad is Chana his ass from the 7th century. I stand by the claim that if Muhammad lived in this century, he would be sent to prison for war crimes.
Not just war crimes, being a pedophile.
So all you can do is charge like a brainless monkey. That's not racist. How is that racist? No, I'm just saying that racist. I called him a brainless monkey.
When you're criticizing, you don't have an answer. Just go, racism.
Oh no, racism.
Sorry, sir, your race card has been declined.
Why are you scaring yourself?
The consequences of cousin marriage on full display today.
I want to say that any individual at Speaker's Corner who promotes Islam in his mosque is a coward for the sake of Allah and preaches the virtue of Muhammad. It's not me, I'm not. Are you insecure because you're 5'3" and you're preaching Islam?
get far.
So he is a coward.
Why no comment?
You're here to talk at Speaker's Corner. You're at Speaker's Corner. So why not promoting your own religion?
I'm there because
Weed Palestine! Weed Palestine! Weed Palestine!
Put the female sunglasses away,
there
please.
is
Craziness. Speak corner is nuts now between the Muslims and the Christians.
Islam is an easily proven false religion. Okay, so we're going to find someone who will speak, because this fast jihadi won't. I'm going to find someone who actually wants to speak about it. I feel sorry for you. I'm going to find someone who actually wants to talk about their religion.
Hashem.
oh ow
Oh, they're escorting him out? Yeah, that's ridiculous. He didn't do anything. He was trying to talk about Hashem. Wow. Crazy. It's Speaker's Corner.
Well done. We'll stay here. Well done. So if the Muslims have to make sure that I am not here in Speaker's Corner, they can't defend the religion. Carry on here, mate. Well We're going to carry on here. You need the police to fight a holy war. The police is on the wrong side of it.
Yeah, that was messed up. Especially for what Speaker's Corner is supposed to be.
The censorship of critical thinking.
Yep.
Islam is not compatible with critical thinking. Unlike the Christian alternative, Christianity has been a self-moderating religion in which we allow for open dialogue and critique. I am fine with my religion being put in question, but Islam has to defer to the very institutions they hate in order to make sure I am not here. But ladies and gentlemen, what I will make sure is that firstly, the Muslim dahis at Speaker's Corner who commit scandals regardless if I'm arrested will always be held to
I want to be.
account. Secondly, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make sure that Speaker's Corner remains a bastion of freedom of speech. I don't care if Mansour and
Might have to go potty or burp.
offensive that I'm showing them chat logs. They can do it however they like, but I will remain here. Notice how the police refuse to tell me how I'm antagonizing the individuals kicking me out.
They're on the wrong side of
The police officer kicking me out could not find me one piece of legislation or reason.
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Which demonstrates the police are fragile. The police are open to appeasement. They don't want Islam complaining, therefore they will take out the persecuted majority, that being Christianity. For whatever religion, Islam, which has a sub 10% population in London, needs to be appeased for 58% of the population.
Yeah, I can't believe they walked him out.
Islam is a cowardice. It is a virus that leeches
Just because he was trying to have a conversation with Hashem. Ridiculous.
Speaker there, so I haven't been able to speak. So
the music did play.
yes, the Rashids of the Quran.
Who's the Rashid?
That's the Rashids of the Quran. It's the recitation of the
Why
Quran.
do you have to stand here?
Why do you have to stand here? Because actually, I can't do anything else besides from be here. You can be over there. So, you're an ex-Christian. You said that Islam has significantly improved your life. Even though... Pardon?
You see that? That's what I talk to you.
Why?
The forces that are putting me.
What was the reason they gave you? Nothing.
Here, I'm speaking Arabic somewhere.
And by the way, because you didn't tell me the particular time, I'll come back next week. And regardless of whether I'm arrested for it, like Fred could tell you yesterday at Liverpool, I don't care about social convention. I will do, as long as I believe it's justified, as long as I believe that within my state I would allow for it as an exertion of my liberties, I will do it. I will confront the radical lefties which call people racists. I will call for the Muslims which preach child marriage, cousin marriage, apostate laws, slavery. I will call those off. I will call off anyone who is a threat to British democracy and our way of living.
Yeesh.
If it takes the 17-year-olds to call this nonsense out, I will take that vocation with great pride.
Yeah, I can't believe they walked him out. He wasn't really doing anything and they were pushing him around. Really, there were like 3 Muslims that should have been walked out instead. Crazy. Well, I'm looking forward to this this Sunday's video from Speaker's Corner. And then there's this guy, this idiot, that decided to burn a flag. Yeah.
And you are taking a live look here that is over in Washington, D.C. Now, we are learning a little bit more about the crime crackdown there.
I honestly think that the new flag law is kind of stupid. It shouldn't have been put in place anyway. We already have laws to prevent people from burning.
Just a little bit more about a man who torched an American
burning anything in public. It's called arson.
So much to discuss here. Let's bring in Fox 5 DC's Stephanie Ramirez.
No, you can't. But Trump put a new law bill in place or whatever that you get 1 year automatically if you're burning the American flag. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think you should. Nah, kinda.
We are just outside of the White House. All right, now in terms of
the federal
takeover, we know the Trump administration.
Well, they should have, but they weren't enforcing the laws that were there, which were arson laws.
Has not only dropped in the district, but the reason why we've seen nearly 2 straight weeks of no homicides. But
Any
learned within the past hour that DC police did have
any
a
presidency
shooting in the southeast neighborhood of the district, where a man was shot just before 12:30 in the morning and ended up dying of his injuries.
You can't burn it in public, like in a public place. And if you're on your own property or whatever, and you feel like protesting and burning a flag or whatever on your own property, go for it. Should be able to. Your property, it's your place. You're not out in public. You're not committing arson. Throw it in a burn barrel, whatever.
We saw an arrest connected to this. You were just talking about it. A man
I get it. It's wrong, and we shouldn't. That's a speech. Yeah, this guy. This is idiotic.
What's going on though is that the president had just announced an executive
Yeah, that was, well, he's a army vet. But he burned it yesterday after Trump put this law into place to protest the law, and I'm like, it's just stupid. Yeah. But that law doesn't need to be in place. There are other laws that are in place to prevent this. They're just not enforced. You need to make them be enforced instead of having people, because I think you should be, even though it's disgusting that you're in America and you're burning an American flag, I think you should be, under the amendments, you should be allowed to on your own private property.
What if they film it?
Yes. Yes. Yes, it's disgusting. It's despicable, but it's not. I have an issue with flags burning in public in the middle of the street and on private like this, but that's arson. That's other. There's other laws that are in place there that they get charged with that are close to felonies, I think, or it can be like felony arson or something. Yes. But like for flag burning, I think it's always been a protest type of idea. So like I think the limitation should be on your property. Now I think if you even burn the flag on your property and post it online, you can get arrested.
Like,
It's arson. That's what you were supposed to give it to your fire company, so they just discarded it. Basically, they burned it. Yeah, that's proper. That's properly discarding it. But people don't. They're not discarding it. It's not a ripped and tattered flag. That's when you discard it. So, it's
essentially
stupid.
prohibiting the burning of American flags. And so we believe that this protest, this action was done in protest of that. We don't know the man's name. We don't know if his arrest is in connection with the executive order. Right now, Park Police are telling us that the charge.
Oh, and it was in a national park.
That he was found to have committed here is called prohibited fire. We also don't know the man's name. What we are told is that he is an Army combat veteran, and he did this action, burning the American flag in protest, just hours after these executive orders. So again, the president leaning
It's some kind of wall, some kind of low.
already here issued these number of executive orders.
But yeah, it was like right when Trump signed that executive order.
An American flag be prosecuted and spend a year in jail, and then
ridiculous.
Joining me live on the desk is Shadow Foreign Minister Mecha Cash, who's been briefed by the government. What do we know about these attacks? What's happening?
Well, basically, what was said today should
That over
horrify
synagogue
all
attack.
Australians. The summer of anti-Semitism, now it's proven that Jewish Australians in this country, Andrew, in this country, were under direct attack from a foreign power that sought to do them harm. Let's be very clear. This was the Islamic Republic of Iran via the Islamic Revolutionary Guard utilising proxies so that they could disguise who they were to take action on Australian soil. They could have killed Australians. Yeah. Let's now wake up as a country. National
declaration of war for Australia.
Okay, the Jewish Australians, they were under direct attack, Andrew, from an organisation that funds the terrorist group Hezbollah and funds the terrorist group
What was the group that attacked them?
We need to wake up as
Was
a
it
country and
the
understand
Iranian Republic?
There are some regimes, the Islamic Republic of Iran, that do not hold the same views as us and seek to do us harm.
Has the government done enough, do you think?
No.
The government obviously
You
has
have like
lot
a
of questions to
weak
answer in
government
relation
over
to
in
this.
Australia.
We have been clear.
They're almost as weak as the US Starmer is in the UK.
To become a terrorist organisation. What I have said, though, is
2 years ago.
and this is just it, right? It should have been done earlier. We have a Senate committee report in February 2023 that clearly stated, put national security, put the safety of Australians first and list these people. And the government did not.
That's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? Like I just showed the letter to James
It's
Patterson.
utterly horrifying. This government, though, Andrew, let's be honest, they've never taken national security seriously until they are dragged kicking
They
and
seem
screaming
to today, but you're saying it.
to the table. Well, let's see how quickly they turn
Glad
the
I don't live in
legislation around,
Australia.
because we have been very clear. We will facilitate this legislation through the Parliament.
Surely tomorrow morning this legislation's introduced and passed.
When you have got the resources that a government has, but not only that, when you have the Islamic Republic of Iran seeking to do harm to Australians, 27 million Australians should be standing up and demanding this government take the necessary action as quickly as possible.
Sure. These attacks happened before in Europe. Iran has hired Hell's Angels to
Correct.
such attacks.
Yep.
So what, it's a pattern, isn't it?
Well, not only that, that is why you list something as a terrorist organisation.
They hired the
That is
Hells
why we
Angels?
called for this
Wow.
over 2 years ago.
Partly because of those attacks.
Absolutely, but also the information we got from the Iranian community here in Australia who have fled the brutality of the Islamic Republic of Iran, have embraced our culture here in Australia. But the reason you do it is this: you send a message to the proxies on the ground.
Yeah.
If you are found to have done this, you will go to jail.
Or if
That's
you're
why you do
associated
it.
with
That's
them,
why we called for it. And whilst, yes, we welcome
then you become
what the government has
labeled
today
as a terrorist
announced,
organization.
they should have done it 2 years ago when we called for
Is
this.
it just the ambassador being sent home or other diplomats? Have you been told?
That is something that you'd need to put to the government.
Is there more the government could or should do to sanction Iran?
Well, in the first instance, this is
Can't
a
sanction
good
Iran.
step. Absolutely. What I would say is this, though: given that the
What
summer of
does
anti-Semitism,
Australia
we
export?
now know
Kangaroos?
the Jewish people in Australia were under direct attack from a foreign
I
power.
don't know what they
the
export. I
Islamic
don't think they
Republic
export
of
anything.
Iran
I think
via
they import everything.
the IRGC. They should be getting the Jewish community around a table. They love a good round table, and saying,
Koalas.
as of tomorrow, what do we need to do to implement our own special envoy's report to us regarding anti-Semitism in this country?
Just briefly, to arrests in relation to Melbourne attack involve a 20 and a 21-year-old. What do you make of such young people being enlisted by a foreign government?
They think they're very easy and manipulated. I think the younger generation is so manipulated because their core values haven't been grounded or stabilized in anything. So they're just flip flopping every which way, whatever's popular, or whatever seems popular anyway.
We were incredibly strong on. You need to ensure that at all times you are taking action to protect Australians, and one of those actions is ensuring that people are not placed in this position where they will do this, cause harm to Australians.
Just finally, 7 MPs have raised in the party room this issue of urgency in terms of the opposition need a net zero position, a 2035 climate target position. I reported incorrectly, you spoke in relation to this. But I do wonder what your view is, and have you spoken to Susan Lee about your personal wish to come up with a position sooner rather than later?
Oh, look, can I say in the first instance, good on Susan for allowing us to go through this process is important, but I have been very clear. When the Western Australian Liberal Party passed our motion in relation to net zero, the Australian people come first. Under Mr Albanese, he is literally breaking their banks. Mr Albanese and Chris Bowen are taking us on a pathway to higher energy prices, blackouts and emissions. Quite frankly, not a lot's happening there.
So are you urging Susan Lee to come up with a position on the 2035 climate target as soon as possible? Straight after the government comes up with their position?
I think that we will need to, but Susan is giving us the ability to work through that process. But I think the Australian people, once the government announced...
It switched. I see it. Put her in the... You want me to hold her while you clean it? Place I'll wipe it. Just saw it. So you don't have to go too far.
You.
Oh, you tooted. Little baby noises. I hear her. I hear the little baby noises. Chris is live at Speaker's Corner. Apparently, the journalist that died in Gaza, I think it was yesterday in the strike in the hospital, they're filming Hollywood stuff. I don't know, but they shouldn't have been there in the first place. The whole area is supposed to be evacuated, I think, around that hospital. I don't want to watch that one.
Yeah, I think I got the.
Good. That was better. I had a good meeting, I think Trump did with the South Korean president. But I think that the South Korean president is more communist socialist leaning. They're trying to get peace though with North Korea, which I don't know. I don't know how that will work out. Answering idiots. The nuclear reactor operator game looked cool. StarCraft, Black Ops is failing, which, I mean, they didn't come out with anything original, so no wonder it is. Yeah, I don't know how true that is. Da. 99% possible spring barrel challenge. Ooh, that looks good. Yeah, I saw this about the Raja Jackson. Let's see.
Sean O'Malley
I
has
saw
admitted he
something
was
from
acting like a Conor McGregor
Rampage.
wannabe.
Rampage Jackson about basically his son's a UFC fighter. He's not a professional wrestler, and they don't back down when fights happen. So he seriously hurt the dude, even though it should have been acting in a way. We all know pro wrestling is fake.
Podcast, O'Malley
Well, I
confessed that he
didn't
was trying to
ruin
image
anybody's day with
McGregor
saying
instead
that,
of being
but
himself.
you know,
He said that this mindset caused him to lose focus and reveal that he even forced his beef with Merab Dvalishvili to fit that image.
Did you use him as a role model at all?
100%. Like the way he carried himself into fights, the confidence, his confidence to say what he thought was I'm gonna knock this dude out round 2. I'm gonna do it. Like I got a lot out of that, and I was like, okay, I can be confident like that, and I feel like I got lost almost in a sense where I wanted to be like Conor too much instead of being like myself. I'd say like the first Merab fight, it's like Merab ate something, and I didn't like how that made me feel. In a sense, I'm like, because I didn't hate Merab, I made that one too personal, and I didn't like that. Merab one, I kind of felt like I forced a little bit.
Brendan Schaub has shared his brutally honest thoughts on Raja Jackson's attack on pro wrestler Stuart Smith. Speaking on his Thick Boy podcast, Schaub, who is a longtime friend of Rampage Jackson, admitted he tried to find a way to justify Raja's actions but ultimately couldn't. He called the situation sad and added that if Smith decides to press charges, Raja could be facing serious legal consequences.
And I'll be transparent, I like Raja.
Yeah, but you would think they would sign releases before they would even do something like this, like both of them. Like, so there's no liability. They would sign a release of a life release or whatever you want to call it.
And obviously, I adore Rampage.
I forget what it's called.
Rampage have a great relationship. I love Rampage. And it's just by nature, my initial thought was when I heard about this, and I spoke with Rampage, when I heard about this, I went, all right, how can I defend Raja?
Love, would you be able to heat me up some soup?
I watched the full live stream and all that.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I can't. You can't defend this. I see this. It's so sad. Cause he was just getting started, and that all goes away if this veteran pro wrestler decides to press charges.
Yeah.
If pro wrestler goes, this was a bit or this was a work, and he just thought that's how it works. I'm not pressing charges. Raj is still going to take a lot of heat online, but you're not doing jail time. Then we can figure it out. But if that dude wakes up and somebody's in his ear and goes, dude, you got to make this dude pay. He has to learn a lesson and he presses charges. It's going to be tough. Attempted murder, aggravated assault, it's going to be tough. Talking about felony, you know?
Habib Nurmagomedov
But if the dude doesn't
believe
wake
David
up, it's
Torres stands
murder.
much of a
So
chance against Arman Tsarukyan. In a recent interview with Kamil Gadzeev, Habib praised Tsarukyan as the best lightweight in the division.
Eli,
right
mom's
now,
talking to you.
giving him an 80% chance of defeating Topuria.
Eli, mom's talking to you. Do you want any soup?
Like that's gonna happen.
Habib pointed to Tsarukyan's ability to handle strikers and his strong range management as key advantages in the matchup.
Я не вижу шансов у Топори. То есть ты считаешь, что Арман в ударке тоже не дает? Арман слишком дистанционно дерется с ударниками. Держит дистанцию хорошо, ногами лучше работает. И сейчас уже Арман слишком хорошо, он уже, у него есть материал, который он может посмотреть и хорошо изучить. Если 3 года назад, если он с ним дрался, может, он не так опасался.
Выиграет он при этом за счет борьбы, правильно?
За счет ММА стиля.
Но
это не вольная борьба.
Но будет проходить, да?
Арман может проводить, у него хорошие локти в партере. Очень хорошие локти.
Elbows on the ground, really good elbows, which they land well. But Russell worked there, take the opponent's back. But what about the dangerous distance? There's a lot of fights he can watch and study. If they'd fought earlier in their careers, Etopur might have had a chance. For me, it's 80% chance for Arman.
Rampage Jackson is facing significant backlash following his son's violent outburst at Saturday's Knox Pro Wrestling event. Footage has now surfaced online from a live stream that took place shortly after the incident, in which Rampage appeared to defend his son. To his credit, Rampage later released a statement criticizing his son's actions. Here's the clip from the stream.
And he hit my son over the head. I guess he thought my son was a pro wrestler or something. And Roger didn't react, but Roger didn't fight though. He didn't do anything, cause I told Roger not to get punched, but still hit my son over the head. And then he asked my son, "You ain't gonna sell it?" When you in pro wrestling, when you sell, it's like, cause that shit fake. MMA, we do real shit. And he said, you ain't gonna sell it. So when you don't sell, it make the other pro wrestler look bad, like he's weak or something. But my son, he don't know nothing about that shit. So this that hit my son is stupid. So in order for me not to go to fucking jail, I gotta talk to his coach. Yeah, Roger wasn't aware. Roger didn't know what was going on. He just thought he was going.
I have a hard time believing that.
That's some fucked up ass shit, man.
No, I think there's some videos showing that like he was really talking some trash and really saying he was gonna beat somebody down.
Nobody else on this fucking planet.
Something else.
With my motherfucking son.
There's something else.
Man, I will go there and I'll fuck up all the motherfucking pro wrestlers over my motherfucking son. All of them. My son ain't no motherfucking pro wrestler.
Baby.
He don't know how to sell that shit. He don't know how to do none of that shit. We MMA fighters. We get dirty for real.
Yeah, but you guys know how to play wrestle and play like in practice. You're not trying to hurt somebody. You're going like 50% in practice, especially with like wrestling and jutsu.
With my son, y'all gotta go through me first.
Jiu-jitsu.
Come meet me at the motherfucking gym.
What?
Mr. Beast has stepped forward to offer support to pro wrestler Stuart Smith, who is currently hospitalized and recovering after a violent on-stream assault carried out by Raja Jackson. Taken to X, Mr. Beast wrote, "Dang man, this hurts to see, especially because I read he was a veteran that used wrestling as an outlet to get over PTSD. Genuinely, if anyone connected to him knows of a way I can help, please reach
Oh,
out.
but
If his
yeah.
kid is a fan or I can help with hospital bills, I don't know, but I'll help. Douglas Mallow, the wrestler who helped intervene during Raja
Mr.
Jackson's
Beast.
violent attack, has spoken out publicly. Appearing on the Scaling Up podcast, Mallow described the injuries sustained by Psycho Stu Smith and gave a detailed account of what he witnessed that night. You can watch the full interview on the Scaling Up podcast YouTube channel. The link is in the video description.
What actually happened to Stu? How bad are his injuries?
Broken facial bones is from what I'm hearing. Missing teeth. Has no recollection of what happened. Incoherent. And then even from the people closest to it now that I'm disassociating with, they won't even put up the full story. Stu's pretty fucked up, I'll put it this way. What happened yesterday is he choked on his own blood.
On his own teeth, I heard.
Yeah, teeth and blood.
And he lost all of his teeth? Right.
A lot of them, yeah. Broken facial
Holy
bones.
cow.
He was out on the slam, and then the guy had made contact multiple times. I remember seeing that kind of being in shock, and then I just went. Outside of that, running in, there was other people that could have got involved that I made eye contact with, but they just stayed by the stage. Let me put it this way. I'm sorry to Stu that the people that said that they were your friends let this happen.
Mallow also went off on fellow wrestler AJ Mana, the individual who brought Raja Jackson to the event. He suggested the attack may have been premeditated.
I think the premeditation part comes on the side of AJ Mana. You brought somebody that was volatile that you knew had issues.
So real quick, that's the friend of Raja who brought him to the event.
That's the small calves, small ass chicken legs with the cowboy hat. I think the culmination between his dad picking on him and all his daddy issues came out and all the shit that AJ gassed up into his head, because let me put it this way. I don't like Raja. I think Raja's a shit person for what he did. But I think AJ's a bigger shit person for gassing him up to be in that fucking ring, to leading him to ruin his own fucking life, to hurt somebody that AJ also has a fucking problem with. You can't fucking tell me that's not, I don't believe in coincidence.
He was basically trying to put the blood on someone else's hands.
Exactly, because he's not going to do it himself.
In a shocking revelation, another guest on the podcast
That's
claimed that the
what it seemed
promotion,
like.
Knox Pro, is allegedly discouraging students from cooperating with police.
But the most disgusting thing is that people at this school are being encouraged to not cooperate with the police. From what I hear, the police were there investigating the scene shortly after Stu was removed, and there has been multiple requests that have gone downstream from upper management to not talk with the police directly if they are contacted, and to only let a certain group of individuals interact with the police. That is extremely dishonest. You guys let your friend almost die, and now you're trying to have people lie for you. And fuck you to every single person who replied to them, yes, sir. You are all weak sacks of shit, and I hope you rot in hell. You are wasting oxygen that other people could be breathing. Go fuck yourself. And if you continue to be complacent in this investigation and you side with the people who you know are in the wrong, I wish nothing but the worst for you.
To cap off the episode, Mallow directly challenged Rampage Jackson to a boxing match, saying he's ready to face the UFC legend himself.
Why don't we pitch the idea? Hey, Rampage, you're getting fucking sued all over the place because you piggyback your fucking son's fucking life. How about this? Why don't we just fucking have a boxing match? Why don't we just fight? You'll probably whoop my ass, and I don't give a fuck. You raise money for your fucking son's legal defense, and I'll raise money for Stu.
Pro wrestler Stuart Smith, also known as Psycho Stu, has shared his first message since the brutal attack, thanking everyone for their love and support. According to his brother, Smith is now conscious and has some recollection of the day the assault by Raja Jackson took place. In a recent Facebook post, his brother wrote, "Good morning. Thank you for the outpouring of support. Stuart is conscious and does have some recollection of the events from the day of the attack. Thank you everyone for reaching out. It's been difficult to get back to everyone individually. We will be setting up something for anyone wishing to donate. I will update with a link when possible. He's currently resting and says, thank you for the love and support." Followed up with, "Good evening. Stuart is resting since he sustained severe injuries to his head. He is currently conscious and able to talk, but will have a difficult recovery ahead. With all the media and social media attention, it's been hard to get back to everyone. Stuart Smith appreciates all the love and the support. He loves wrestling, his wrestling family, and all his fans and supporters. Wrestling has been a huge part of his life, and he lives to put on a performance. He's also just a regular guy with a life and family outside the ring. His wife Contessa has currently set up a GoFundMe for those wishing to donate. We appreciate all the support during this difficult time. Thank you." We've also attached a link to Stu's GoFundMe in the video description.
Nuts.
Thank you guys for watching.
Did I get any replies on my comment?
How's the lady doing? Well, she's awake.
Yeah, she's awake.
She's fighting you.
Yeah, she's moving a lot.
That's gonna eat soup.
Hot soup.
Hot soup. Hopefully it's hot. If it's not, tell me.
It's hot. I feel the bowl. I feel the bowl. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Pallywood. Oh, that guy got hurt. Ooh.
No let up, only an intensification of the fire in Gaza and the woes of its people as Israel turns up the...
Church blocks Epoch Garcia to Uganda, says Trump is forbidden.
A federal judge, and this is from the great Thomas Stevenson. Go follow him, by the way, over at Post 1 because he does
Right, are they still defending this guy?
On Monday, federal judge appointed by Obama ruled that the Trump admin is forbidden. Oh, gosh. From deporting alleged MS-13 gang member Kilmar Abrego Garcia for now. This comes as he was detained. Your Judge Paula. Oh, of course, Paula. U.S. District Judge Paula Shinnis.
Paula alone.
Blocked his deportation and said in court, the Trump admin legal team, your clients are absolutely forbidden at this juncture to remove Mr. Abrego Garcia from the continental United States. This is our understanding. Until she holds a hearing to see if he can contest the deportation order
Get this over with.
to the third country. The order comes, oh my gosh. So this is what we see. We see how the left utilizes power. They never let go. They fight back every chance they get. They say, even if there's someone who's, even if you're an MS-13 member who was involved in trafficking other illegals, and I believe minors at one point, this guy was, it was brought up that he was trafficking. Even for that person, they will still fight back.
Well, this is a classic case. Like, what do you do with power when you have it? Well, first you have to have it.
Yeah,
and
they don't have the power,
and so we have to be moving more towards that. It is true that we have Trump as president, but we don't really have a right-wing entrenched establishment for power. These guys do. And this is exactly what they'll do with it. Yes, then this is exactly what they'll do with it. And they will curtail at every single turn any idea that you can remove people from the nation who aren't supposed to be here. That's their future constituency. They don't want nothing. They don't want any type of curtailing.
He's going to run for mayor next. Kilmar, yeah.
Well, and he might win in one of those places.
Oh, they'll love this. Yeah, this is
maybe run mayor of Kampala, Uganda. Maybe that'd be very nice. Also, I think like you could just ramp the pressure up by just keeping him in Baltimore, and he'll just self-deport after like a few weeks. I mean, like, let's be honest here, and apparently he can't understand.
Or be dealt with by other means.
Right.
Yeah, he can't speak English, right?
Make an example, right? The whole point was to make an example.
We are deporting you to Baltimore. Just deport him to Baltimore.
Please go to Uganda, please.
Please, let me go to Uganda.
Like the
He's mad at the judge right now.
Yeah, he's like, whoa.
We'll send you to Africa if we're gonna if we can just deport you anywhere. But the whole point is to make an example.
Yeah, just put him out on the street in East Baltimore. That's it. That's it. This is your deportation.
Yeah, I don't know. This could be kind of fun. You could take the migrant down Embassy Row and be like, pick where you want to go. That's a little too nice. Come on, your budget's a little too high. I don't know. Maybe South Sudan. That might be more.
You gotta pick. You have to be one of the ones that isn't on Embassy Row. You have to be one of the ones that's like
off Broadway.
Yeah. And didn't the Supreme Court recently say that they can deport to these other countries if they want to? That the United States government can deport to Uganda if they want to? They can just do that, right? Yeah. So.
Judge can't block it.
This may very well get overturned very quickly.
Again, going back to whether there's rights or not rights. I mean, there's basically they're saying that there's no There's no obligation of the government to return them to their home country.
Why should there?
They can deport them to
By
anywhere.
the way, in many of these cases, you've got people who are from even far more, far-flung places in the world than just Latin America.
Yeah. But hey, let me dip into your wallet to send them back on a free luxury, airplane ride halfway across the world.
How many times is he coming back and forth now?
Yeah.
Like, why are we paying for any of this? He should have been gone immediately. It's ridiculous.
His lawyer was saying that he's going to fight this. What kind of defense is there, possible for? Like, he's been adjudicated to be an illegal, right? Like,
he admitted it, like in court.
He was picked up human trafficking, right? Like, what kind of defense could they possibly produce?
I mean, it's very obvious that
they're just making a statement.
Just a wait out the clock scenario. Where we're gonna find it's kind of like when you have a death penalty case and they just come up with any theory, anything they can find.
Time till the next administration,
and then just hold it over until until a Democrat gets in or something like that, so that he's able to stay. And it's very clear they're trying to do that. So Shane, to your point earlier about short term versus long term, this is what happens when they're pushing for these short term gains.
Yeah, they
still have to deal with this.
But this is great. I agree. This guy has no rights. This guy has no rights here. This guy has no rights here. He should never have been here, and he should be launched out of here immediately.
Yeah.
Like the things I'm talking about in the previous stories have nothing. They don't apply to this guy at all. He should be launched into space.
All right, so Shane's happy now. We're
Musk
good.
should send him to Mars, if I believed in Mars. But yeah.
I also like how hard we're mogging the British here because they tried the Rwanda scheme and it failed miserably. And then we're just like casually, oh, Uganda, you want some illegals? You can have a few. South Sudan, why not? You open? All right, here's a few.
Uganda needs help.
Brutal mogging. I'm really sorry for the British, but we make it look easy getting.
It's not the first time we mogged them.
That's true. But when it comes down to it, and I could see people saying, why does it matter so much about this guy? And I think it shows the fight.
It doesn't.
I think it shows the new level of fight that Trump admin 2.0.
It's how low Democrats are willing to go.
No, we're not going to give up on this one. And in fact, because you made such a big deal and the senators were flying down to El Salvador and meeting with him in, CCOT and all of this, that we're not going to let go. And we are going to make a symbol of this. And we are going to show this to everyone and set the precedent that if you are here and if you're here illegally and you're rolled up, you're going. And there's the libs do not have any power.
Well, look at what happened. You remember Alligator Alcatraz?
Sure.
Right?
How could we forget?
So the idea, like I watched the tour. It's an air-conditioned facility, right? And it's set up, this air-conditioned facility where there's fences which, divide various prisoners. Probably some of them are more violent than others, et cetera, et cetera. What's the actual problem here? Why is the expectation this is going to be the Ritz?
They
I was under an expectation that this was going to be the Ritz, that this was going to be a nice hotel room for people to kick their feet up and relax. But for some reason, that seems to be the case, that these people are like, hey.
I know, because you look at like holding cells in Sweden and they're like, oh, they're nice.
That's
exactly. We should have in America.
Have you seen the original
Alcatraz? We need to get you on the 44th floor of this luxury hotel before we fly you back to your country. You can come break in whenever you want to. This is a precedent against that kind of stuff. This is the idea of like, no, I didn't mean to cut it. I was just saying, this is the reason Trump is fighting this tooth and nail in the administration. He's trying to say, look, we're done with that. And by the way, this is a state-of-the-art holding facility for illegals before they go. It's fine to send them there as we're processing them out. Enough of the Ritz treatment. Enough of the you get everything you want treatment. So I think you're right on that.
Debit cards in New York City.
Yep.
Take away the hotels, give them to the illegals. Insane.
Yeah,
totally
they
insane.
Like Mets tickets on the way out.
Oh,
which
not
is
Mets.
Kind of
Not the
unusual.
Mets.
Well, also,
Gosh,
I think summer camps produce patriots, because if you went to a summer camp, this looks fantastic. Alligator Alcatraz, like this looks wonderful. Like I remember how horrid the conditions were, and you loved your time there. So
just on August 21st, District Judge Kathleen M. Williams has said that it has to be shut down. So it's still open, but they have significant restrictions currently, which again, it's not some kind of terrible place.
But they're going to fight that out too.
Well, I mean, and hopefully the Trump administration wins. But the point is, like, no matter what you do, the left is going to push back. And like you mentioned earlier, the institutional power is still strongly in the left's favor because of judges and stuff like that.
Well, judges, academics, the people who make studies which show the inhumane conditions of various people based on
Experts.
how they define it.
Super don't care.
All of that is entrenched.
I remember that. So I spent about a year at Guantanamo Bay, serving there in the military, and not on the other side of the bars. We would have those. That it was the same deal. It was like air conditioned. The facilities were really nice. It was based on Supermax, so they get. Detainees would get whatever they wanted. They would certainly get religious specific meals and keep halal and all this. And then we would have and Red Cross was right there, International Red Cross, so they had pretty much full access all the time to the prison facilities whenever they wanted it 24/7. They had an office right there, and we would still get congressional delegations and journalists who would come in. And we would show them all this, and I would say what I just said about, hey, here's their medical group, and here's their Red Cross representative, and here's the lawyers that they get, and all of this. And they would walk out and they'd say, torture. Torture. Torture in these torture conditions. Look at the torture. They're just like, no, I just showed, I just spent all day showing you torture.
We're not making it fancy for him.
And it was, I'll put it this way. I kind of never believed the media to be, I understood the media was liberal, I guess, but was serving there and going through that experience with, my own eyes to just realize how much lying they do. Just straight blank lying that
for the purpose of political expediency.
For the purpose of the expediency. But I always assumed it was bad. I had no idea how blatant it was.
Do you think they
and
just
it's
showed
worse
up?
than that?
They just show up just to get photos? Why even go?
To prove that they were there.
Yeah, just to be like,
So
we were
they,
here.
They could prove they were there, and then they turn around and say, oh, and then they know because I can't just post, pictures of the conditions for lots of legal and
it's a secret
classified
facility, and you're a soldier,
reasons,
and that would be legal.
That we can't really refute anything they're saying.
Crazy.
Okay, and John McCain did that when I was there. Actually, I got to brief him.
Well, you're right. They do blatantly lie. They lie often, and they lie constantly.
Journalists?
Yeah. And this so this was me serving the military and be like, wait a minute, it seems that the lies are far stronger than I realized.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast I.
You can see if my comment is still there on this Muslim apologists page. Let's see my history. Be a little mad if it's gone. You should see what's going on with Asmongold. Maybe he's taking a break.
Christians accuse Muslims of facing an Islamic dilemma. Either admit the Quran confirms the Bible, or admit the Quran contradicts.
No,
Oh,
it was back.
Huh. She freaks me out. What?
Following breaking news from the federal court, a federal judge has thrown out an unprecedented immigration-related lawsuit against every federal judge in Maryland. The Trump administration alleged the court had no authority to issue a standing order that imposes an automatic 2-day pause in deportation cases. The Justice Department sued, saying the Maryland judges had no authority to issue such a blanket order without further assessment. U.S. District Judge Thomas Cullen, who was appointed by President Trump, said the administration will have to find another way to challenge the order or sue the judges individually.
Yeah, you can't do it all at once. I'll take more. Whenever.
You want more?
Good. Really good soup, Mom. Thank you, Mom. No, I don't know.
Wow. Do you want to hold our little girl while I get more, or can't?
Hmm.
I'm really give it up to you.
Hey, you. Hey, you. You like being balled up. You like being balled up. Yeah, she rolled up into a ball in your stomach.
Some of the most harrowing images coming out of Gaza were filmed by this freelance journalist, Mariam Daka. Not anymore. She was with 4 other journalists. Some of them snapped this selfie just hours before the attack. One of them was even live streaming the scene for the news agency Reuters. Cameraman Hussam al-Masri was killed, along with Mohammed Salama, who worked for Al Jazeera and Middle East Eye, and his colleague Ahmad Abu Aziz. The attack was a double-tap strike, with one missile hitting first, and then you see another moments later as rescue crews arrive. Mariam would often base herself at the hospital in Khan Yunis, shooting images like these of the war's youngest victims. The 33-year-old could have left. She sent her son abroad to safety to stay with relatives, but chose to remain and document the destruction. With almost 200 journalists now killed in Gaza, her sister said she knew she would suffer the same fate as her colleagues and friends.
Yesterday she called me and said, "Hey sister, I would like to have coffee with you." She was saying goodbye to us. I went to her and stayed up late. I usually go to her every day.
Well,
Yesterday
this makes it sound like they were purposely at the hospital for the strike. Like they were purposely in the line of fire, so
memories. She said,
that's what it makes
"When
it
I
sound
die
like.
and when I am martyred," I responded, "Who will you leave us for?" And then she said, "There is nothing left. It's done. Today or tomorrow, I will be martyred."
Her story is a snapshot of the suffering in Gaza. Her mother, unable to get proper treatment, died from cancer 4 months ago. She had given a kidney to her father, and now her son is an orphan. At the White House, it appeared that a journalist broke the news to President Trump. This was his reaction.
In Gaza that killed 20 people, including 5 journalists.
When did this happen?
This happened overnight, today.
I didn't know that.
Any reaction to this? Are you
Well,
going
I'm
to
not
talk to
happy
the Prime
about it.
Minister?
I don't want to see it. At the same time, we have to end that whole nightmare. I'm the one that got the hostages out. I got them out.
And in yet another sign that
There's
perhaps
the
only Trump
hostages
can
there.
influence the actions of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, an hour later he shared this post on social media, claiming the hospital strike was a tragic mishap, saying Israel values the work of journalists, medical staff and all civilians, and that the military authorities are conducting a thorough investigation. International journalists aren't allowed to independently film inside Gaza because Israel refuses to allow it. Today, on the streets of Tel Aviv, there is little mention of the deaths in Gaza. Israelis are once again calling on President Trump to bring home the remaining hostages. Families of those being held in Gaza and their supporters
You
staged
know, if
nationwide
Israel had a
protests.
little assistance, I'm sure they would be able to get the.
To immediately accept the deal that's on the table and to start returning our hostages that are dying there in Gaza, and to end the disaster that's going on in Gaza, to end this war immediately. And I expect President Trump to do all in his power to bring our people back home like he did until now. He has to end this tragedy.
Citing no evidence, Trump has said in the next 2 to 3 weeks there's going to be a pretty conclusive ending to the conflict. Everyone here wants to believe it. But as Israelis block highways, their military's tanks are moving closer to the border ahead of a fresh offensive on Gaza City, where airstrikes continued, killing dozens overnight. Amjad Rashid said her neighbour's house was hit while they were sleeping. She says she
Why
doesn't
are
know
they
how to
still
talk,
in
what to
Gaza
say,
City?
or what to do.
They're staying there for a reason. They've been given the evacuation order. They should evacuate to the safe zones. Don't understand why there's still civilians staying in a militarized zone, especially when it looks like this. Because that all didn't happen at once.
She has simply run out of words.
Leave.
We're now joined by Oren Persico from the Israeli media watchdog, The Seventh Eye. I wanted to start by asking you, how are the killings of journalists in Gaza covered in the Israeli media?
Well, the Israeli media focuses more not on the killing, not on the killing of journalists, but on how what's going on in Gaza will reflect on Israeli image abroad and might harden the pressure to force Israel to stop the war. The facts on the ground come in only later, if at all. The focus is this doesn't look good, and what can we do to make sure that the Israeli narrative is spread more effectively abroad.
And what about the language that we see in Israeli media? We know that the Israeli military often call these media workers terrorists. Is that then echoed on Israeli media channels as well?
Well, it's not a clear cut. You have the far-right Israeli media. Just yesterday, the chief commentator there called to eliminate all journalists in Gaza.
No, you gotta turn the Wi-Fi off and turn it back on.
But then you have mainstream media, and then and they do make a difference between
it's not going through my headset.
workers who are considered terrorists by the IDF and are called terrorists by the Israeli media, and those specific freelance journalists from yesterday who worked for international respected agencies, and it was reported that they were not considered terrorists.
Turn this noise off.
And were not targeted. That's the official line.
I can't. Where's my bill? No,
You think it's because I'm watching videos that you can't watch a video? I mean, very good connection, but no.
Fixed it. Thanks. That was good advice.
Thank you. No, you're fine. I'll let it cool down.
That these journalists were not targeted, that this was what Netanyahu is calling a tragic mishap.
Exactly. The Israeli media follows step by step with IDF spokesperson's narrative. If the IDF spokesperson say, look, we have evidence these are terrorists, the Israeli media won't bother to make checks or independent inquiries. How with that? If the IDF spokesperson and Netanyahu say this was a mishap or sorry, it wasn't the aim of the attack, the media will go along with that as well.
So would you say there's a lot of self-censorship when it comes to reporting the war in Gaza inside Israel?
Oh, absolutely. I think most of the censorship regarding this war is self-censorship. You know, we have a military censorship in Israel that forces all journalists to get a clearance before they publish anything which could be sensitive for the national security. But the most of the censorship in Israel is self-censorship, and not just because journalists think they might get a backlash from the public. I think a lot of Israeli journalists don't think they should publish material about what's going on in Gaza. Their own opinion is we should support the war effort and not really be journalists.
What are Israelis seeing on the mainstream news channels in Israel from Gaza these days? Are they seeing pictures of starvation? Are they seeing pictures of the endless suffering of civilians?
The focus is not the suffering. Again, the focus is the narrative war between the Hamas propaganda campaign about the suffering in Gaza. Of course, in every war, you have some people going to get hurt. Some other people will be hungry. That's usual. But the Hamas, according to Israeli media, amplifies that and turns it into another part of the terror propaganda, right?
And there's
no
idea
sort of
who this white shark guy is.
Between Hamas and Israel narrative that says we're letting a lot of humanitarian aid coming in, and you do see pictures of like a sack of potatoes that nobody wanted on the side of the street. How can there be hunger if you see one single sack of potatoes, you don't know exactly where in the Gaza Strip, that nobody has bothered to pick up? So the cracks in the narrative of no hunger at all are there because the pictures, it's hard to deny them. But Israeli media tends to focus on separate incidents, sort of, either lies or exaggerations. The Israeli media focuses on that in order not.
Sure. Watch it, Eli boy. Thank you. Poland.
The Netherlands is in shock after the brutal murder of 17-year-old Lisa, who was returning from a party in Amsterdam on her bicycle. The girl called the police and said she was being followed. Unfortunately, before the patrol arrived at the scene, she was brutally murdered. The probable perpetrator was arrested shortly afterwards at the refugee center where he lived. The brutal murder of a 17-year-old girl has shocked the entire country. The Dutch media are reporting extensively on what happened on Tuesday night. Lisa left the center of Amsterdam around 3:30 a.m. after a night out with friends and was riding her bike home when she noticed that someone was following her. The 17-year-old called the national emergency number. The police located the teenager using her phone, but it was too late. When the team arrived at the scene at 4:15 a.m., Lisa's dead body was found in a ditch on the side of the road. The teenager was brutally murdered. The perpetrator is a 22-year-old man. The authorities and media have not disclosed his ethnicity, but it is known that he was detained by the police at a refugee center where he was living illegally. He is suspected of 2 other violent sex crimes. The crime sparked a nationwide debate on safety. The slogan, "Right to the Night," has become a symbol of protest against growing violence against women in the Netherlands, as well as against blaming victims, for example, for provoking with their appearance or being in the wrong part of town at the wrong time. We all have 24 hours in a day, 24 hours that we can use however we want, wherever we want. Meanwhile, in the United Kingdom, protests are sweeping through many cities, including London, Liverpool, and Newcastle, against the state-funded hotel accommodation of tens of thousands of asylum seekers. Regular protests have also been held outside the Bell Hotel in Epping, Essex, after an asylum seeker staying there was accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. The government in London is legally obliged to accommodate asylum seekers in hotels, which in recent years has generated increasing costs and met with increasingly strong criticism. According to Home Office data published on Thursday, the number of asylum seekers accommodated in hotels stood at just over 32,000 at the end of June. This figure is up 8% from around 29,500 a year earlier. This is a discussion about costs, but also about internal security. A similar discussion is also taking place in the United States. After sending the National Guard to fight crime in Washington, D.C., it is now to be sent to Chicago for the same purpose.
So, I really am honored that the National Guard has done such an incredible job working with the police. And we haven't had to bring in the regular military, which we're willing to do if we have to. And after we do this, we'll go to another location and we'll make it safe also. We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe.
Next year, the European Migration Pact is to come into force in Poland. The costs associated with accepting illegal migrants are currently estimated at nearly 1.5 billion zloty. At the same time, Poland is already seeing an increase in organized crime and crimes committed by foreigners.
Crazy.
But first tonight, to the bombshell news that Iran is behind two major anti-Semitic attacks in Australia, the fire bombings of a Melbourne synagogue and a Sydney Jewish deli. The attacks on the Adass Israel Synagogue and the Lewis Continental Kitchen shook the Australian Jewish community, sparking fear and anxiety. Yet some sections of the media, police, and even politicians gaslit Australians, absurdly claiming the anti-Semitism crisis was a hoax and that there was no evidence hatred of Jews was the motivation for these attacks. That was utterly wrong. Australia's intelligence agencies told the federal government just yesterday that Iran was ultimately behind these violent terror attacks. In the face of these chilling developments, the Albanese government had no option but to act today, listing the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organisation, despite refusing to do so for more than 2 years.
ASIO has now gathered enough credible intelligence to reach a deeply disturbing conclusion that the Iranian government directed at least 2 of these attacks.
Gee.
Iran has sought to disguise its involvement, but ASIO
Iran,
it
come
was
on.
behind the attacks on the Lewis Continental Kitchen in Sydney on October 20 last year and the Adass Israel Synagogue in Melbourne on December 6 last year.
Wow.
The Albanese government has now expelled the Iranian ambassador and 3 other officials as well.
It's a good start. But I don't think they'll be hard enough on Iran. I think they're too lenient. Not that I want troops on the ground, but we could bomb the heck out of them. Meltdown over impossible meltdown.
And we may finally see First Lady Melania Trump on the cover of Vanity Fair. Reports suggest its new boss is potentially interested in featuring Melania as liberal outlets shift to woo the administration. Melania was excluded from the nation's fashion magazines, including Vogue and Vanity Fair, during her first time in the White House, despite previous First Lady features. Michelle Obama was on 12 magazine covers during her 8 years as the First Lady, including 3 times on the cover of Vogue. But now this potential move has employees of the famed fashion magazine losing their minds, with some threatening to quit if the
Melania's
First Lady is
awesome.
granted a spot on the cover.
I mean, you got to see what this says. I will walk out at this blank door, half my staff. This, according to who is a mid-level editor. We're not going to normalize that despot and his wife. So that's the attitude of the people you hire. I would say, listen, if you're going to walk out because you don't like my cover, you don't understand who the boss is, you should leave.
She's the Vogue
See
before she became First Lady.
And fashion she's at the top of the fashion industry and has been for decades. But I love that this editor says that, and she speaks with her clothes in a way that, like, I don't get clothes.
She's very
she
beautiful.
speaks and like I look at her clothes and I'm like, oh wow, that's a statement.
And she speaks how many languages? She's
5
smart.
languages, right? But I love that this editor says, if I have to work bagging groceries at Trader Joe's, I'll do it. I would far rather work at Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's is a great place to work, I think.
It's fun to shop.
They're always very friendly.
But I would add one other thing. She's also
Probably
got
those
another
people
job.
won't be.
This is fascinating. She's going to head up teaching AI to kids nationally.
Yes.
So the next generation, first, second, third grade, they maybe set up a curriculum to keep up with the hottest thing in America, right? In the world.
Yeah, she's
it's a great
encouraging young people to develop AI mechanisms to help the less fortunate and help organizations.
First Lady Melania Trump revealing her latest project, leading the push to educate the next generation of Americans about AI.
Are you ready for an AI challenge? Take part in this nationwide initiative to discover, develop, and expand AI's potential. The President's National Artificial Intelligence Challenge invites every student in America.
You know those
From kindergarten,
like 80s movies that are like apocalyptic future with like grungy, like probably like Judge Dread or whatever or something, and they have those robot voices and that, or not robot voices, but like holographic images with a woman head talking, and that's what it sounds like. That's what she reminds me of when she's talking right now, like she's one of those hologram heads. Why?
To 12th grade, to unleash their imagination and showcase the spirit of American innovation.
Michael Kratzio serves as the director of the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, and he joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning. It's great to be
Good
here.
morning. We saw her, what she did. She was a big advocate for Take It Down, for that act that took down the AI-generated naked pictures of young girls that they were fakes, and she helped get those down, and now she's doing this presidential AI challenge. What exactly is it, Michael?
Yeah, it's a great moment for our country. Well, the president signed an executive order in April of this year and essentially prioritized AI education in K through 12. And the challenge is all about young Americans being able to team up together to develop and use AI solutions and AI tools to create great opportunities in their own local communities. So you can imagine students teaming up to create and use AI tools to do things like optimize bus routes, for example, for their local school district, to maybe use large language models to help identify indigenous plants, maybe in their local gardens. You could help empower and work with their local fire departments. So the opportunities are endless. But the key is we want to have America's youth plugged in and working on and using AI tools.
I would imagine with kids growing up around so much AI on social media and on the internet, that they would be pretty far wiser than I think maybe people who are older about AI.
Absolutely. So I think we have an opportunity to harness that excitement and that interest and allow them to leverage those tools for the betterment of their communities. And what we love about this whole project and what the president and the first lady are pushing is the idea for these young Americans to team up together to solve real-world solutions for their local communities. But ultimately, and I think the policy behind all of this is that no matter what age you are, wherever you go in your professional career, whether you want to be a doctor, whether you want to be a lawyer, whether you want to work in law enforcement, you will be leveraging these tools in the future. So this presidential AI challenge affords you the opportunity to work with these tools and develop great projects and have hands-on experience so you can go off into the workforce with the tools that you need to succeed in the new economy.
First Lady's perfect to do this. She loves kids, likes to focus on learning. I got it. But how does it actually look in practicality? Like what, beside whether he's going to be things teachers are going to be asked to do, where they're going to be surrogates fanning out from the government through these different schools? What is it going to look like?
So signups open today on AI.gov, and the way it looks is that you will have to team up with other students and also have an adult mentor or a teacher to help sponsor your team. Over the course of this fall, you have the opportunity to develop an AI solution for a local challenge you have in your community, and submissions are due by the end of December. From there, there's going to be a regional competition that's held later in the spring, and that's ultimately going to lead and culminate an event here at the White House where all of the national winners will be able to come to be here with us in Washington.
And Michael, one of the big things is if you asked me 10 years ago to give directions, I was great. But now since GPS, I don't even know where north is. I've gotten so dumb when it comes to directions. Are you worried that AI is going to do too much thinking for the next generation when they should be really learning to think?
That's such a great question. And
I think it'll mess with their critical assessment skills. I think it really will. They'll have it and not be able to critically think.
Sort of that's the underpinning spirit of the entire project. The idea is we want to show that these tools can be used to make good and positive and beneficial impact to the communities around us. They're not just crutches so that you can, not have to do your homework or not have to study for an exam. The answer is that you can actually leverage these tools to solve real-world problems and improve your community around you. And we're so excited to be able to see what so many young Americans can work on and create, and ultimately be able to showcase those here in Washington.
Yeah, Michael, I have that problem with music now. Remember, we used to buy CDs, and I knew every Garth Brooks song. Now I hear a song, I'm like, I like it. I have no idea who sings it. Michael, how can we as parents help? Because Our generation, we're not so tech savvy, and we're not necessarily don't know everything about AI. We know how to get on Chat GPT. That's about it. How can we help our children develop a love for this, because this is the future?
Yeah, so the second part of the executive order that the president signed had a call out to the community,
And
to
they're
the
way
private
older than me.
sector, for great technology industry partners, to academia, to so many others, to actually create a repository of AI tools that students, teachers, and parents can all use to help educate their students on how to use this new technology. So if you go to AI.gov, you can see a lot of our partners that are volunteering and donating all of these great tools for parents to be able to use to better understand how they can teach their students, how they can teach their children, and be able to help them get ready for wielding these tools in school and beyond.
All right, Michael Kratsios, thanks so much for joining us today. Good
Thanks,
luck.
Michael.
You and the First Lady.
Thank you, guys.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
It's time for lefties losing it, and the Democrats are in all sorts of trouble. Their brand is in the toilet and circling the drain, and things are about to get worse with a new congressional map in Texas being voted on. And that has Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett losing it. She may even lose her seat. She's certainly lost all sense of decorum. Listen to how she speaks about President Donald Trump here.
Listen, Donald Trump is a piece of shit. Okay, we know that. Yes, yes. He is. He is. He is. But in a functioning democracy, he still would not be able to get away with this.
After her foul-mouthed, ghetto-like tirade against the US president, Jasmine went on the attack, this time with the Supreme Court, making all sorts of wild claims.
What are you doing with the Snoopy glove?
The courts, especially the Supreme Court, is complicit. And so I think one of the places that we have to start is we are absolutely, they are the highest court in the lands, and they have no ethics guardrails. Now you go down to the lower courts and they do. How much sense does that make? When we know that they're taking money, we have the paper trail, and they refuse to put guardrails on themselves, so it's time for us to do it for them.
That all sounds rather insurrection-y to me. She doesn't respect the rulings of the Supreme Court. Does she just accuse them of taking bribes? And here she is threatening to beat down Republicans.
They expect Democrats to kind of be the nice guys that we are. They expect us to take the punch and say thank you. Well, I am here to tell you, not only are we going to punch back, but we about to beat you down.
No one thinks Democrats are the nice guys, Jasmine. And did you see the others clapping there like deranged seals? And talking about deranged, here is Democrat Senator Minority Leader Chuck Schumer lying, just lying.
You know, it keeps getting worse. Today, Donald Trump and the White House announced they're going to spend $200 million to build a large, fancy White House ballroom. This is what Doge was all about, folks. Cutting things, taking things away from you, and not giving it to some place that needed it, giving it to the big shots who run the show, Donald Trump at the top of the list. Maybe he can park his new plane in the big ballroom. It's probably big enough.
Now, Chuck knew he was lying there. He knew. He's not stupid, but he knows he can get away with it. And so he felt rather comfortable fronting the media to repeat those same lies, suggesting taxpayers were footing the bill for this planned ballroom. Watch this clip, followed by a quick fact check from Caroline Levitt.
Here's even something more confounding. Some breaking news. Just now, the White House announced construction of a $200 million White House ballroom that will begin in September. A $200 million ballroom. Where'd this money come from? Did Congress appropriate it? I don't think so. It's almost like Doge was never about waste at all.
President Trump and other donors have generously committed to donating the funds necessary to build this approximately $200 million structure.
Now, I've often argued that we need to bring back asylums, make asylums great again. And here is further proof that there is a shortage. This lefty is having a murderous meltdown because Donald Trump axed taxpayer-funded NPR. and something called Tiny Desk Q Tantrum.
I don't give a just kill him! You have to!
Now let's check in on some activists, those keen enough to make signs and turn up to protest, claiming the president is a fascist and the real criminals are in the White House. You know, you'd expect those folk to be really across the issues, have some in-depth knowledge.
What crimes have they committed?
Trump?
Yeah, the ones in the Oval Office. What crimes have those people committed?
You want to look it up on Wikipedia? There's like a list.
Well, you made the sign, so I'm asking you.
It's true. I'm at a protest, though.
Yeah.
I don't need to know anything. I'm here for my community.
Okay, so you make a sign about people being criminals, but you don't know what you made it for?
All right, so I make a sign supporting my community and the people in it. Yeah. And I'm not ashamed.
I think he should be ashamed of it, but here are some more protesters who have absolutely no idea what they're protesting, who they're protesting, or why, but they're there holding signs.
Do you think Charlie Kirk is a white supremacist?
I don't know who that is.
It's who you're protesting.
Charlie who?
Charlie Kirk.
I don't know who Charlie Kirk is.
He's the CEO of Turning Point USA. It's the whole reason for the protest.
Now, I've been accused of stereotyping folks with septum rings as lefties. Well, here is a septum-wearing lefty confirming that it's not a stereotype, it's just facts.
All leftists look the same. Yeah, babe, it's because we want you to know, okay? I put the septum ring on and I said, everybody is going to be able to identify me as a leftist. Yeah.
And here is another sad girl with a septum ring living up to the stereotype beautifully.
I'm definitely not proud to live in this country. Trump is a piece of The Republican Party is a piece of You know why Kamala gave me hope? It wasn't her, it was Tim Walz. I'm a Minnesotan. I know what he stands for.
Now, this next clip is rather adorable. Here you have a lefty mum, a Democrat, being trolled by her own son. This is love.
So I'm staying the night with my son, and he has a very sick sense of humor. He made a Trump bedroom for me. Notice Trump toilet paper, Trump mug.
All right, that's enough YouTube. Honestly, I might take a little nap. And come back live tonight after I take my nap. Yeah, that sounds like a plan. All right, I will catch you guys later tonight, probably around 5 o'clock. And we will game on. All right, peace. God bless. Catch you later.